Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Yard to Table Appalachian Homesteading. And as the title of the video says, we're going to talk about using AI for our plants. Yes, I've used AI all year, my very first year to grow things. And things change in technology over the years. When I first started this channel, I had a great number of people tell me to check and use the farmer's almanac. And I know that was the Bible to people farming, but there's very few farmers left anymore, independent small farmers, because farming was such a low profit, high expense for equipment business that a lot of people quit farming because they wasn't making any money. But we're going to work on learning AI today, not using a farmer's almanac anymore, but I'm going to use AI, and I have used AI, and I can show you some results. I know when I first started this channel, I said we're going to grow things using AI this year, and I got a few comments, snickers, and said, you can't do that, it won't work. Well, just watch and find out and see what you all think, and I'm going to give you some live demonstrations. We're going to talk to Gemini, and we're going to identify some of these plants, and we're going to find out about their care so that you can do it too. Let me tell you what, I never grew succulents outside of the hen and chick succulents that I grew just in my yard. That's a perennial here in zone 7B. It doesn't freeze out, but everything you see here pretty much, except maybe a few, are going to have to be brought in for the winter. They cannot take cold weather. They will freeze and it will bust the capillaries in their leaves and they will die a miserable death. So and if you've been following the channel, you know that we're going to sell some of these. We got an event coming up September 3rd, and this is August 25th. So we've got, no, not September 3rd, October 3rd. There we go. It's got a whole month. So that's what I'm doing today, is I'm going to repot some of these, and we're going to talk about pot size and soil, and we're going to use AI to identify some of these plants and tell us how to mix our soil. So guys, I hope you enjoy this. We're getting ready to get started. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I have a camera set up over here, as you can see, on a little arm thing so that I can put some succulents under here so you can see them better. I'm filming by myself, and you can't really see that from here, but if I come right over here and put it under here, then you can get a close-up view, as you can see there. And it is what type of plant is this? I'm sure some of you succulent growers know exactly what it's called, and I did look this up yesterday, but I have a hard time remembering names. But that one's pretty interesting. So what we'll do, we're going to start out with AI, and we're going to identify this plant and find out what would be the best mixture of soil or medium, because it's really not soil what we're going to be using so much of. We're going to be using lava rock today. We're going to be using perlite, and we're going to be using a coco coir and a little bit of garden soil to mix up new soil for this. Now, I don't have any lava rock in any of the plants that's growing right now, and they have done okay. I did have a tremendous amount of rain this year, and that rain really wiped out, right here some of them, wiped out a couple of them. They did not. Let me set this down here and bring this back over to the close-up camera. Whew. Now these are called buttons. Now, if I would have had lava rock in these, maybe they would have done better or survived, because the lava rock will let the water drain quickly. Now, they have to have water, but they don't have to have water setting on their roots. Once they have that water pass through the medium, the perlite, the lava rock, or whatever, then it needs to drain so those roots don't rot. They'll get root rot and leaf rot underneath the bottom of them and things like that. So we're going to get started here with AI. We're going to identify one of these plants, and then we also, or what we're talking about today, is the difference in uppotting. Both of these were the same size when I got them. This one got a bigger pot, this one stayed in a smaller pot, and you can see it did not grow as big as the others. Same way here, these all came in, these were I ordered these on Amazon. I'll try to put a link for that in the description so that if you want to order some. I bought 100 succulents the very first time, but that's way too many for some people probably, because depending on how much room you got, they're going to grow and get bigger if you want them to. And if you up pot them and keep up potting, then you're going to have more and more room like I did out here in the yard. And unfortunately, I didn't keep these out of the rain. Like I was showing you, the buttons died out, and I had a string of pearls that didn't do really good in the heavy moisture and continue everyday rain. But most everything else has done fairly well, considering most people think that succulents, you water them too much, they're going to die, and that's true. But you can water them as long as that water drains off and does not stick in there. Now you can notice, we're going to talk about pots too. I got some little pots right here that I use for the smaller pieces, and then these pots that I've got right here, I like these shorter, fatter pots for the succulents. They're more made for that type of bonsai tree, succulent type planting. So they're a little flatter. It took me a little while to find those because I was having problems with trying to up pot all these. I came home with over 1,000 succulents, and there's a lot of them, well, all of them eventually got up potted into bigger pots. So let's, okay, we keep saying, John, you keep saying we're going to use AI to identify this plant right here. So let me get my phone out here, and we're going to go to Gemini, and you can just, it is a part of Google, I guess you could say, but there is an app for it. Let me show you right here. See that Gemini app? So we're going to open the app up, and we're going to search chats, and it will save all your previous chats, so you can go back, and it will also know what you've talked about and remember you. I also let Gemini read my email, write my emails back. I do fine-tune, tell it what I want it to say. It's like having a personal assistant. So, okay, let's go here to the camera, and I do pay $20 a month for Gemini. That allows me to have a lot of storage and a lot more use on Gemini. They do, without a paid version of it, they do limit how many, say, images you can generate. So I'm still learning about it. I've been using AI now for about 6 months. This is something that I have never dealt with before, but I have found that once I've started using it, and if you'll use it today, you'll love it, and you'll be using it from now on for research. Now, there's some AI just absolutely is a problem to me as a content creator. As a YouTuber and a content creator, right now there is a ton of AI generated slop. That's what people call them. If you're watching a video and there's not a real person that's talking to you, you're listening to an AI generated video. I know there've been all these videos pop up of showing somebody run out in their backyard and throw up a trellis and throw in some seeds, and then next thing you see, just all these tomato plants grow on it. Well, that's not reality, that's AI, and we don't use AI that way for this. We're not taking and generating things that are not real and making them look like they're real. We're just using it for research, and I'm going to show you. I have used AI for thumbnails to generate a thumbnail, but we never alter an image, never alter anything in the videos using AI like so many of them are. And it's hurt the real channels like me and other channels where there's really a person sitting and talking to you. It has hurt us because so many people like these what's called YouTube folklore. It's a lot of creators do it. They just use AI to make up, say, make up a story from 100 years ago about a certain area, and make up names in a situation that could have happened. They get a script within seconds, and then they sit and narrate that over just pictures they've taken of something, and it ends up you're listening to something that's not real. I know I had so many people say, John, did you see this video? It was amazing about Kenny Rogers' maid. She inherited $40 million or something like that from Kenny when he died, and all of his memorabilia, and everybody, oh, it's such great, but there was never a person, never an interviewer, never a real person in that video. So the guy that was telling me about that, I said, let's just check this. We AI'd it. Come back and said, no, that's not true at all. That's just a YouTube fable. Something to make you feel good. Now, depends on whether you just want to feel good or whether you want to hear real truth and reality on these things, on these YouTube videos that's popping up. So just to let you know, everything you watch on YouTube is not real. If you're not seeing a real person actually talking to you and you're just hearing a voice in the background, that's not a real person. That's a computer that generated that. And a lot of the things that you'll see in these videos is, if it's talking about a person, it never uses the right person, hardly ever, that it's describing. Sometimes it can be off. It'll be telling you one type of pepper and it's actually showing you another type of pepper. So AI has got better, and it's got to where people can set up a AI channel on YouTube and it's all AI, and there's nobody real there, and there's nothing real that you're seeing. So guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button and help channels like us, because we're really struggling to compete in this world of AI and shorts. YouTube does not pay us anything on shorts. We do make about a fraction, about half a penny per view, not even that on this channel because it's new right now. So, you know, a video with 10,000 views makes around $150 for us. So, you know, it's helpful when you hit that subscribe button and follow along with us, and then people realize, hey, there's people that like that channel. Not that we make any money when you hit subscribe at all, but it does let other people, while they're scrolling through Facebook, know, oh, okay, that channel's got some subscribers, so it might be a pretty good channel. Let's check it out. So now that I've actually grown something this year, and you can see I can do it, YouTube tells me that only about 20% of the people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. So let's get here. You said, John, you keep telling us you're going to use AI and you haven't. You just keep talking. Shut up and do something. So here we go. We're going to go over here, and this says, hi, the Appalachian. Let's get into it. And you can see it says right there, Ask Gemini. So I'm going to hit the plus, and I'm going to go over here to where it says camera, and I'm going to hit camera. And I'm going to come right here. Let's see here. Okay. Got a picture. Move this out of the way so we can look at my phone here. Okay, it took us a picture. We're just going to hit attach. It's attached. Now it says Ask Gemini. So I don't even type in anything. I just use their voice record. Good morning, Gemini. I'm recording the video for people watching my YouTube videos from Yard to Table Appalachian Homesteading. And we need you to identify this succulent. Tell us what it is, where it came from maybe, and different care techniques from it. And actually say hello to the viewers if you'd like to, because I've encouraged them to download your app and try you out today. So here we go. Okay, it's generating, it's generating, it's generating, it's still thinking, and it's done. Let's see what it has to say.
Hello to all the viewers watching Yard to Table, Appalachian Homesteading. It is great to join you today. Looking at the plant in your hands, here is the breakdown of this succulent for your video. Identification and origins. Plant identification. This is Portulacaria afra variegata, commonly known as the variegated elephant bush, variegated dwarf jade, or sometimes elephant food. Though it looks like a traditional jade plant, it is actually a completely different genus belonging to the Dideriaceae family. Native habitat. It is native to the dry, arid regions of South Africa, where it thrives in rocky, well-draining soils under intense sunlight. Care and cultivation techniques. Soil requirements. It requires a fast-draining, gritty soil mix to prevent root rot, similar to the custom fast-draining mixes used for commercial succulent cultivation. Light and watering. Provide it with plenty of bright, direct sunlight to keep the colors vibrant. Allow the soil to dry out completely between waterings, as it stores water in its fleshy stems and leaves. Propagation. Elephant bush is remarkably easy to propagate from stem cuttings, making it a fantastic plant for expanding a collection or sharing with fellow homesteaders.
All right, guys, what do you think about that? That's quite amazing. I remember when the fax machine came out, and you could actually fax a black and white photo to somebody across the phone line. and technology's changed. I'm a 4-decade entrepreneur. I'm actually a serial entrepreneur because I've always had some type of business going on that I transform from one to the other if one of them slows down. I've never believed in having all my eggs in one basket for over 4 decades of having businesses. I actually got my first license at 17 years old. I started selling used cars and opened up my first used car lot. And I'm going to be talking more about my business experience on another channel that's coming up that I'm working on called The Mindset of a Serial Entrepreneur. And I'm going to be talking about my 4+ decades of experience and the things that I've learned and how things has changed to using AI. I always say the last words of a dying business is will never change. So I've always believed in technology. I've always had computers and used computers in my businesses and been very useful to help me make money. So now AI is the same thing. I cannot tell you what each one of these succulents are. Some of them I'm starting to remember, but my mind don't, those long scientific names that they give these doesn't register with this hillbilly mind all the time. But with Gemini, which is absolutely free, I do pay $20 because I use it a lot. It gives me 5 gigs of storage. So you can download that on your phone right now. You don't even have to download the app. A lot of people say, I ain't downloading that on my phone. You can just use it directly from, you can go to Google Gemini, and go to that app and do it from inside the internet and not actually put the app on your phone. It'll work that way too. But I trust it enough to let it do as much as I can because it's been a tremendous help in dealing with when we do product review videos for the Appalachian channel. It helps us negotiate the deals, write the letters backwards and forth, and the emails dealing with the different companies that we use in the Appalachian channel. We're not doing any product reviews on the Yard to Table at this point, but eventually someday we'll have some things that we're going to review. Now let's look at a few more things and then we're going to get started mixing some soil over here. We'll tell you what we got going on. I'm going to use 4 different components, but right here, I opened this up yesterday. I bought this, depending on what you need, how much you need, you can buy just bags of this at your big box store. This come off the big Amazon River website, and I really don't care much for it. It's really just dry, earthy. Let me put it over here and let you see it. It's just dry and kind of earthy. You see that? More lots, you know, it needs not be packed. You don't want just packed. So I'm sure this has been formulated and used to test it to make sure that it works good with succulents, or they wouldn't be selling it for succulents, because it's, I think, and I could be wrong, correct me, you can look it up, I could be wrong, I do believe this one little bag was $27. So that makes it $27 a cubic foot. And if you know me on any of the videos before, I'm always talking about a cubic foot bag of soil so that you'll know how much you're getting. You can't compare soil prices without knowing what your cubic foot is. And right here, this is a 0.75, 3/4 of a cubic foot bag. So some of the stuff, we're going to use a little bit of that. We're going to use a little bit of that in this new mixture that I'm making today. This new mixture is going to be made up of several components. It's going to have lava rock, perlite, coco coir, and the soil I just showed you. So we'll talk about that quite a bit in the next few minutes if you're interested in succulents, or even if you're interested in some other type of growing plant, whatever it might be. This video we're going to be using AI, so this will teach you to check any type of plant, whether it be like I used AI, the Gemini. I would take pictures of the leaves on my plants and it would tell me what type of disease it was and what to treat it with. So it's let me be able to grow, really for my first year, quite an amazing garden over here. And you'll be getting a garden tour real soon, because I have some beautiful pumpkins growing on the trellis, and I have a 145-foot row right here of pumpkins growing, and they got sunflowers in it. It's going to be really cool when I get it done. So All right, let's get back to this. I'm interested in this one right here. It started blooming. There were 2 of them, and this bloom has been on here for a while. I thought, well, after a few days, I've seen some of them bloomed, and a few days later it was gone. But isn't that gorgeous? Let's put it under the close up here. Look at that, guys. So I know that these are succulents, but what species of succulents, I have no clue. I know most all of them will use about the same soil, and the ones like this right here, let me show you this one. A lot of people's familiar with this. This is called a chick and hen. Hen, that's the middle one, the big one, that's the hen. Then in chicks, or chicks, hen and chicks, I guess is what you'd call it. This is a perennial here, and you can see those leaves, they're very thin. They have very little water in them. And I've grown these before in my yard, and my mom had them for as long as I could remember. So this was kind of a standard yard plant that people would just decorate with, that would come back every year and it would grow, and you could take some of these little chicks off and replant them like we have here. Check this out. This is a starter tray. This is all stuff that I have started growing that I will up pot. I need to up pot some of these today. Let's look right here at 1 or 2 of these. I'm so excited this morning to get to tell you about how I've been doing things. You see that little bitty one right there? Now, it's got those tips, those red tips. I want to up pot some of these in this new soil today, because they're outgrowing, as you can see, they're outgrowing this 72 cell container. Then I have, I think, a total of 8 of these 72 cells. They're growing over here, and they're doing okay, considering I've not done much. And I know nothing about growing succulents. I think that they've done really well. We've even made a nice display over here with them, with a round raised bed. And my girlfriend Mary decorated and put those in there, and it's doing really good. And each item is still in a pot inside the raised bed. That way, when I need to sell them, I can just pull them out and sell them. And yes, I'm going to be selling some succulents coming up, like I was saying, I think on October 3rd at Red's General Store in Campbell County, Tennessee. We're going to have a meet and greet. They're having a pig roast. It's going to be a big event. Or if you want succulents, just email me and I'll tell you where I'll be and how we can get together. I need to sell, you know, at least $50 worth to meet somebody somewhere. But if you're interested in buying $50 or more of succulents, let me know, because we got to get rid of some of these, because I don't want to have to store them all winter, but I do kind of like them. I'm going to keep a lot more than I originally thought. This one's beautiful. Now, what I just showed you, look at these beautiful red tips on that. So we're going to take a picture of the one, that's an echevera that I just showed you. It's a special type of echevera. I'm not for sure which one. We can look it up. It talks about its red tips. That's from being stressed, actually, the red tips. So a lot of people stress the succulents, either not giving them enough water or letting them get root bound will stress them, and it changes the color. So this is my first experience of trying to raise succulents or grow them to much degree outside of the hen and chicks that I grew in my backyard. And we actually sold some of those many years ago. We took them and to the flea market. We put them in pots, and we just used yard dirt, to, you know, what was in the yard to grow them in at that time. But now I know that these other succulents that are not perennials, they'll live, they're perennials, but they'll live forever pretty much and keep propagating and remaking leaves as long as they don't get cold. So now I've got this topped in here. Let's see what Gemini tells us about this particular plant.
This is an Echeveria, a rosette-forming succulent, in full bloom, sending up a tall flowering stalk, inflorescence, covered in bright reddish-orange, bell-shaped flowers. Echeverias are popular for their tight, symmetrical rosettes and generally require care similar to your other succulents. Soil. Fast-draining, gritty soil mixes to prevent moisture buildup around the roots. Light. Plenty of bright light or direct sun to keep the rosettes compact and intensify their leaf colors. Watering. The soak and dry method allows the soil to dry out completely between thorough waterings.
All right, now I can keep asking questions here, and they'll keep telling me different things I need to know, but it's been very cool this morning for this time of the year, but it's going to get hot real soon. The sun's coming in behind me, so we're going to get started mixing some soil. So one of the components we're going to use is called coco coir. It says coco peat here, but this costs about $25 for a 10-pound block, but it will make about 2 cubic feet. Unless you're going to do a lot of succulents, you're not going to go this route, or unless you're going to be planting some other stuff that you're going to use it for. Coco coir is a little bit more expensive, a little bit more time consuming. It's not like buying a bag of soil, pouring it out and being done. When you mix your components, and I got my wheelbarrow over here and we're going to mix some here in just a second real quick, you want to, depending on how many you're planting, let's put it that way, are you going to mix your soil? If you're only going to do 2 plants, no. If you're planning on staying in the succulent growing, you're going to maybe make up some soil and custom build you some soil to see, to use over, to do quite a few of them, or to use over a period of time. You can actually put it in a container, plastic tub, and save it. And that's what I do. Once I get done up potting them, whatever's left, I put a lid on my plastic container and I keep it so when I need it the next time. So we're going to tell this Gemini what we've got as far as mixtures, and then we're going to ask it to tell us what percentage of what that we should use and what's good for what. This one's absolutely beautiful also. Look at this little rascal. I've always liked succulents. We're going to have, for example, we'll have this right here, runs about $8 in your big box store. We'll have some smaller stuff for like $5, some bigger stuff like this for $15, and some stuff I'll keep, I won't sell, because I'm going to propagate some of them and have more for next year. But I got a lot of them out here for even as low as $5. So will I make any money on this project this year? No. If it wasn't for having the YouTube channel to make a little bit of ad revenue on here, I couldn't actually do this. But yeah, can you grow succulents and make money? Absolutely. The thing is, I'm not 100% focused on just doing this, so I have to do, my other Appalachian channel, other things that's going on around here that I've got to do. So I can't completely just always say, okay, I'm going to depend on my 100% income coming in from succulents. No, I can't do that. But because I'm not going to make enough money on these to do that. But it's a project for the channel. It's a project for the homesteading channel here, to show people something that they can do, that they can learn from what I'm working with here. Some kind of weird noise out in the pumpkins. Probably couldn't hear it because I'm using a microphone, but something like some kind of buzzing killer buzzard, I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to this. And talking about propagating, right here's some. I can show you how I propagated some of these. And it seems like it works way better if it just does it on its own. I have got the leaves and propagated some of them, but they do not want, when one of the leaves comes off, let me see if I can find one here. Let's just look at this, what I've got under here, because we got leaves off already. Their leaves are petals. They're more like a petal, I'm going to say. But, okay, see that right there? It's going to grow another one right out the end of it, just like it has these. See that? That leaf fell off. It stayed right in there, and now there's one right there. And I can take it and put it right in my 72 cell tray. And it should root. So here we go, guys. We're planting 2 back into this 72 cell tray, and they become a point that this leaf will just rot and dry off, rot off or come off. So we're going to go ahead and move. So we had Looks like about 3 of them. That one's done off that. So when these grow and come up, this one looks really bad. It didn't make it. I'm pretty sure this was too much water what caused these. See those leaves? I'm gonna leave them laying there. And it does have a little bit of life right there. See that? It'll come back, I believe. Alrighty, have you tried AI yet? Put it on pause, try AI and come back, or do it at the end of the video, whatever. But I'm gonna think that once you try AI, just find something in your house, take a photograph of it, whether it be something that it can identify. Say you have a radio or some kind of medical equipment or something that you use in your house. Take a picture of it and just say, what is this? And see how it works. So it's free, easy to use, and can make you a gardening guru without knowing anything, because it is a master at all information that's been put on the internet. It immediately searches it, pulls it together, and gives you a definition of what that item is. All right, guys, let's see here. Let's talk to it a minute about soil, and let's see what Gemini says about the soil, how to mix it. All right, Gemini, we're still working on this video, and we're going to up pot some succulents, and we need to know exactly how to mix my soil, because I have some really horticultural grade fine lava rock. I have some perlite, and I have some coco coir, and I have some regular garden soil that's from Miracle-Gro. Tell me what percentages of each one of these I should use to make a perfect succulent mix. All right, so as it's doing this, and it's already got it done, the most expensive thing is the lava rock. I'm gonna tell you, it's not something that you're gonna find that they've put in plants like this that they're selling, because it will up your cost tremendously. A 45-pound bag was $75 plus tax and shipping. It is only about a cubic foot of it, so space-wise, it's not going to take up a lot of space to fill up a lot of pots, but it is going to put a lot of weight in there and make it a little heavier, which is good on some of these. I don't like for them to be light and turn over easy. And also the perlite that we put in there, and I use a lot of perlite on all of these. The perlite, I didn't like it because it is light. Perlite, yeah, lightweight, and it floats to the top, and then it gives you, let's see here, let's just look right here. Here's one. See all of that perlite in there? Not so pretty, but we're going to use this lava rock in more abundance than the perlite this time. I'm sure that's what it's going to say on here. And that way we don't get all these little white specks at the top. We're going to see more of the black lava rock, and we'll open that up in a minute and I'll show it to you. So let's go right here. Let me look at a few things here. Go back to it and see what it said.
Here is an ideal custom soil recipe using the components you have on hand to give your succulents the fast-draining, gritty environment they need. Custom succulent soil mix ratios. Fine horticultural lava rock, 40%. This forms the structural core of your grit, ensuring excellent internal drainage and preventing the soil from compacting over time. Perlite, 30%. Lightweight and highly porous perlite creates essential air pockets around the roots and prevents moisture retention. Coco coir, 20%. This provides just enough organic moisture retention and a light fibrous texture without holding on to excess standing water the way heavy peat can. Regular garden soil / Miracle-Gro, 10%. A small amount acts as a nutrient basin binder, but keeping it to just 10% ensures the mix doesn't stay wet for too long after watering. Mix these together thoroughly, and you will have a lightweight, fast-draining medium that will keep your up-potted succulents happy and thriving.
All right, guys, I have got the lava rock here that we're going to use. Let me straighten this camera up here a little bit so we can kind of get an overhead look at it. So it said 40% of the lava rock. So what I'm going to use this pot right here. This is about it's probably a gallon and a half pot, or I don't know, but I do know about how big of a mixture that I'm going to need out of this soil. So I'm going to take and at 40%, if I do 4 of these, for the 4 buckets full and 3 buckets full of perlite. Let me see, here's the perlite, and it is lightweight compared, compared to the lava rock. Then I'm gonna put 3 buckets of perlite, 2 buckets of coco coir, I think that's what it said, and 1 bucket of soil. So we'll double check that, but I know the first one here is 4 buckets of lava rock. Now this is our heaviest component, and what I'm going to do is I'm only going to put 2 buckets of it in right now, because I want to put the other 2 buckets that it's asking for on top. So I'm not for sure exactly how many buckets of this I'm going to have in here, but all right, there's 1 bucket. 2 buckets. Now the reason I don't want to put this, all 4 of them in there, is because it gets hard to mix it up. To get an even amount. So what we do is I put even though I haven't used the lava rock before, but I know from experience mixing other soils that I don't want to put it all in the bottom and try to pull that heavy lava rock up to the top. So it doesn't, you know, percentage wise depends on how much you want to use. It's just saying percent. It's not saying, you know, if you wanted to make just a gallon of custom soil, then you could ask Gemini, what do I need to do just 1 gallon of this? And it would tell you how many ounces of each item, but you're generally not going to do small batch custom mix. And I have not found any custom mix. This is my wear a mask when doing this. Don't breathe this in, because it's very finite stuff that you can get in your lungs. So I did this as an example so you can see what not to do. All right, now I got to get some of this off of me. Now we got 40% of the lava rock, which we've only put 20% in, but we're going to put 2 more boxes. So that's 40 and 30, that's 70%. So that leaves us 30% more than we need to put in there. So 20% of that's going to be coco coir, and I'll show you the coco coir. I've got it already. The coco coir comes in a block, and then you have to hydrate it. I think I showed you that block earlier. We might have been talking about that. I might be sitting on that. I don't know where it's at, but anyways, it comes in a block. You break that block up, you wet it, and then it becomes coco coir, and then you mix it up even more. It's from coconut shells. It's been broken down from what I understand. So we're going to put 2 of these. There's 1, 2. So there's my 20% of that. And now we're going to go with some garden soil. And we only need 10% of the garden soil, and so I'm going to do that right there in this box, and this is to give it some organic matter. And now I still have to put 2 more. Got a little mixer over here somewhere. All right guys, here is the Miracle-Gro garden soil. Just 1 bucket full of that. So you can use a shovel or a little yard fork. I don't know what do you call these guys? I like using my hands. The only thing I don't like using my hands on it is it gets a lot of. Okay, let's look at it now. See how it's turning into, we've got a lot of white in here, and that's from the perlite. So what we're going to do, we're still going to have to add how many more buckets, guys, of the lava rock we're going to add. You remember, we're going to add 2 more, that's 21%. and I wanted to wait and mix that. I like doing it with my hands. I put gloves on, and with your hands you can kind of break up this coco coir. You don't want the clumps of coco coir in there. If you can keep from it, you definitely want to try to get any of the clumps out of it. And now we're going to get ready to add the extra 2 buckets of lava rock, and I'll set that right here. See that clump right there? That's coco coir. See that? You want to make sure that coco coir is broke up real fine. You don't want to have that in there in chunks. So let's see here. I just pour this in here. Whoop. Okay, there we go. We spilled a little bit out, but that'll probably do it. Got some right there, see? Oh, about full. All right, that's close. So we're going to put this in here, and here we go. I'm mainly looking for that coco coir. I like these gloves. Keeps the dirt out from underneath my fingernails. That's where I get dirt from, is working in the dirt. Get it under my fingernails. So, okay guys, we're getting there. I don't know. This is about, I'd have to put it in a bucket. This is probably a little over 5 gallons. All right, we got her mixed up. We're only going to pot a couple of things because I got a bunch of pot and you ain't going to want to watch all that. So we're going to pot a couple of them up here and then the video will be done. But let me reset this camera a little bit. Put in the comments, hey, you didn't put it in there, because sometimes I forget. So what I generally do is, we've got the, let me zoom this up just a little bit. We've got a plant that I'm going to put in a bigger plot so it'll get a little bit bigger. So generally what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure these are already wet. Usually if they're dry, they say not to put any water on them in case these roots that get broke. The water could cause there to be some disease come in there and rot if you water it right away. They recommend not watering these until about 3 or 4 days. So I'm gonna just reach down in here. Let me turn this around here. All right guys, I've got the camera over here. I've got the pot, I've got the succulent in my hand. Now I do these in volume, a bunch of them. I had to pot over 1,000. So occasionally, if you're not careful, now if I wanted to, I can take all this soil off that's on there so that I can get 100% of the new soil. And I'm just kind of mixing this soil back down in here. But what we want, I can tell that's wet right there. Those roots are wet. And it has been raining, and I do water them pretty good once they do get dry. So I generally put about half full. See that right there? I usually put about half full and then set it in there. Oh yeah, I can hear that crunch of the lava rock. I like that. It's holding it in there good. So I'm gonna try at this point to get this straight up and down. It has been growing at an angle, but we're gonna try to get it straight up and down. Got a few right down in here that's coming down. It's got one that's come off. But we'll just leave this laying in here. And now, sometimes when they grow at an angle, like this one has, getting it straight's not actually going to work. It's still, to me, I want it to stand up straight. So what I'll do is, it's not too bad, but I can see it was growing sideways. And when they grow sideways, different things happen to them. Leaves grow different, or the petals are growing one side or the other. So there's one. Yay! One. Anybody want to come help up pot succulents? I have a bit of... All right, so I got another little one right here. I just kind of pulled it out of the... pulled it right out of the 72 cell tray, and here we are back over here. Now this one's kind of tiny. I'm going to put some soil in there, and what I'm going to do is just kind of push that. And I know there's going to be people saying, John, you've killed it. Well, not really, because I've got 1,000 of them out here that. But look, that one went really quick because I wasn't trying to straighten that one up, so that went quick. So some of these will move a little bit faster than others, and some of them I'll do it another time. I won't even do them today. It started out cool this morning, and now it's starting to get rough, getting warm out here. It's going to be about 85 degrees today, and that's cooler than it's been because it's been 95. All right, let's go back over here to the wheelbarrow. Here we go. Let me let you see this one here. And it really wasn't root bound. We are not seeing roots out here. It could have stayed in that pot. Could have stayed in that pot quite a bit longer. But we're trying to up pot some of these to see if they won't grow faster. So same thing. I'm going to put about half of it. Fill half of that. And then I'll just take and pull that in. Then I'm going to push this down a little bit. You don't want to pack that soil too much because you want it to be loose, but I do pack it in just a little bit to help. So there we go. Now, still might be a little high on this one here. Let's see. Still might be a little high on this one here, but we got some stuff going here. So straighten her back up here. Now, this is what they call the 6-inch pots, the succulent bonsai pots. They're low and they're flat, and I like them. So here we go. We got another one up potted. And what else can we up pot? One more before we leave today. I think I would like to see, oh gosh, it's hard because I love them all. I see one right here that looks like it's going to be another one of these echeveras. All right, let's look at this one right here. It is bigger than the pot, pretty much. So this is a good candidate, or you could leave it in this. You don't have to up pot it, depending on your room. Here is this, here's one, looks like the same one. Now, just different pots. I don't see a lot of difference in the growth size on those right there, but we're doing a whole new soil type. So these that I'm doing today, I'll be able to tell by the soil which ones they are and see how much better they did than ones that were planted in my own mixture, which contained no lava rock. So I didn't use the lava rock. And there's also pumice. You can use pumice as a very similar thing to the lava rock. It's actually probably cheaper, but it was white, and I had enough white with the perlite that I didn't want to add any more white. So I paid extra to get the lava rock. Yeah. All right, we're going to up pot this one, and this is really wet today. Let me look over here what size pot we want to go with this one. That's a big 6-incher there. Let's go. They come in different sizes. So here is a 4-inch. There's 2 of them in there. I think this is a 4-inch. You'd think I'd know more about the sizes, but I've got some 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, something like that. Different sizes for different stages. So we're going to do this again. We'll come right back over here. Now, I'm not trying to propagate anything else, but right there would be a really good leaf for that. It would stay, as long as you keep it dry. Those will die. Okay, here we go. You do not want to put no water on the leaves when you think, oh, it's water, it'll make them grow. No, they'll rot. That's been my biggest failure in the succulents, pretty much in propagating, is that when I got some leaves going, I had some going, they'd propagated, they'd popped up, and I let it rain, and I pulled them outside to, I don't know, I put them outside to get some sun or something. I can't remember. Let's see if I still have them over here. Oh, yeah, here's some of them. They put it over this right here. See, they were growing and doing good, but they got way too much water. So, yep, nope, they didn't live. That's okay though. It's okay, no problem. All right, guys, I don't know that I'm going to up pot anything else right at the moment. I do have a bunch to pot if you want to buy any of these, I'm gonna take this glove off. If you'd like to buy any of these, my email will be in the description below or in one of the comments. I live in La Follette, Tennessee, and I can meet you somewhere. I'm gonna be selling these at different times, so I'm gonna hopefully go down to the farmer's market at the Tractor Supply and sell some of this, and actually maybe sell some of the peppers that I've grown. I've got a lot of peppers. The next video is going to be a peppers lover video because I have 150 pepper plants, and we're going to look at, you might can see a few of them back here in the back. You can see my trellises back here maybe, but we're going to grow even more next year. I grew 150 this year, and I grew, I don't know, 50 pumpkin plants. I'm not going to deal with the pumpkins next year due to the fact that the squash bugs and the squash vine borers have been a battle. There's a whole video on that if you've not watched it. If you grow any type of squash plant, cucumber plant, anything in the cuprid family, anything that's got the big leaves and vines like squash and all the different pumpkins, and the bugs here was terrible. I didn't even know what was going on until I lost quite a few of those plants. And I know I get on here and gripe about them on every video, but I made a complete video on the squash vine borer bug, and then we're also going to make a video on the squash bug on how to. I'm starting to sweat. My nose is itching, and I got my hands with dirt on them here. So, all right, guys. I think wow, this is one more cool plant right here. Let me see if I can pull it around here and see if we can see it. Look at this plant right here, guys. I like that. There's certain ones of these that I'm going to keep and propagate and use again for next year. But I'm going to have to plant a bunch of these or re-up pot these this evening when it gets a little cooler. All right, guys, I'd like to say thanks to everybody that has subscribed to the channel. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the encouragement. And we want to keep bringing you content, but we want to know what you're looking for. Would you like to see more about succulents, or more about our pumpkins, or what would you like to even see next year me grow? I'm looking for ideas to grow some stuff next year. So make sure to leave me a comment. Tell me where you're located, what state you're in, so I can get an idea of where people's watching from, or even what country. We get people from around the world that watch, especially the Appalachian channel. So, and if you've never seen the Appalachian channel with John Ward, check that out. I got a lot of videos about Appalachian people and places on there. So, anyways, this sweat, when this starts happening out here, the filming's got to come to an end, because I can't let nobody see me sweat or something like that. Anyways, I love you all. God bless you. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.